Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. It's the day after Canada Day. So, a lot of people may not know this. Obviously, I live in Canada. So, what is going on in Canada? A lot of people are knowing what goes on in the US with the recent debacle at the debates. Everybody is kind of in panic mode on the Democratic side with Joe Biden. Well, similar things are happening here in Canada. Everybody knows that our prime minister is Justin Trudeau. What people don't know is that his government has been in power for almost a decade now, and things are not rosy. The more we dig, the more that there's been some insiders filling their pockets, mismanagement of funds in the billions. So yesterday, Pierre Poilievre, if people don't know who he is our current opposition leader. And he's been going strong for a long time now. I do want to make another video about the Conservative Party being not necessarily in danger, but they do have a problem. I'll get to that probably tomorrow if I'm permitted to make that video of saying why I think the Conservatives have a big problem. But for now, Pierre is obviously in touch with the people, and a YouTube channel that I watch a lot is Northern Perspective. And they really have some good insight as to what is going on in Canada. And I haven't watched their entire video here, but they are putting up a message from Pierre Poilievre about Canada Day. This was a video released by the opposition leader yesterday. So I would like us to just have a look at this, if we can. So let's have a look at his perspective on Canada.
Canada is home, and there's nowhere like it on Earth. Nearly 10 million square kilometers of prairie, forest, and tundra. An ancient land stewarded by our indigenous peoples since time immemorial. A country with deep political history going back to the Magna Carta. An inventive nation that gave the world insulin, pacemakers, and the telephone. A warrior nation that helped defend freedom and helped defeat ugly socialist ideologies like Nazism, fascism, and communism. Big, proud, free, so much to celebrate. Yet, many are not celebrating right now. Government inflation and taxes rob workers' wages. Our national debt and our housing costs have doubled, and most of our youth have given up on ever owning a home. Our food banks burst with 2 million visits a month. A quarter of our people live in poverty. Homeless encampments multiply and expand. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder reign in our once safe streets. Our military is unequipped, and our troops disrespected by government. Our speech censored. Weird, woke obsessions divide our people, destroy our education, disparage our history, and degenerate into our streets. All of these problems, every single one of them, come from the top. While Canada is broken, the people did not break it. The powerful did. But thanks to our treasured parliamentary democracy, the people, the common people, will take back control of their lives to make Canada the freest nation on earth. As always, our past was built by, and our future belongs to, these common people. Often, they're wrongly called ordinary people, but they are extraordinary. The firefighter that runs towards the flames, and the police officer that run towards the gunshots, who kiss their kids goodbye in the morning, hoping it won't be the last time, they're not ordinary. They are extraordinary. the trades workers that turn the wrenches, swing the hammers, lay the bricks, and now program the 3D printer. They're not ordinary, they're extraordinary. Those who build stuff, fix stuff, dig stuff, and make stuff. The farmers who turn sunlight and air, seed and soil into dinner on your plate, and yet who, in the words of Paul Harvey, bail their families together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing. The troops who stare down our enemies and stand on guard for our home and native land. None of these people are ordinary, they are extraordinary. On Canada Day, we celebrate the ancient liberties that free these extraordinary people to do these extraordinary things. As a small-town lawyer by the name of John Diefenbaker said, "I am a Canadian, a free Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship God in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, free to choose those who govern my country." As we celebrate what Dief called this heritage of freedom, let me say, Happy Canada Day. Let's bring it home.
So, if you did not know who Pierre Poilievre is, that was him giving his message on Canada Day. So he highlights a lot of issues here in Canada, obviously. Hello, Ryan. I just wanted to put him out there to give people that may not know of him a sense of what he represents, and he touches on a lot of issues currently going on in the country. And he is very common sense oriented. Like even in his video here, he refers to ordinary people, but they're not ordinary, they're extraordinary, which is a really inspiring view to see. Because this country is built on ordinary people, and the result was extraordinary. Unfortunately, after 10 years, we've gone through negligence, and yeah, Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party went after the woke agenda with a passion, without even thinking about was it the right thing to do. We poured in money disappeared. And unfortunately, our country is broke now. Broken and broke. We don't have any monies for anything, and everything is broken beyond belief. So, if you want to compare speeches, I'll go back here and show our Prime Minister's speech, just to give you an idea of how different these people are. If you think this was rehearsed and acted and all that, you would be right. So let's have a look at this.
Happy Canada Day. No matter where you are, I hope you're celebrating the incredible people, the land, and the story that is Canada. It's a story that began more than 157 years ago, with Indigenous peoples who've called this land home since time immemorial. It's a story of sacrifice. When Canadian soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, they knew they were risking their lives. But freedom, even for those across an ocean, even for generations of people they'd never meet, was worth fighting for. Our rights and freedoms are never guaranteed. They're safeguarded every day by trailblazers, journalists, activists, organizers, people who want to keep building a country where we can disagree, sometimes passionately, but where we always come together in the pursuit of something greater than ourselves. A country where everyone has a fair shot, no matter who they are, where they come from, how they pray, or whom they love. Those are the values that hold us together as Canadians. It's the reason so many people around the world save up everything they have and leave behind everything they know to be part of our story. It's a story that includes injustices, ones that we're confronting on our shared path of reconciliation. It's a story of learning that we're stronger not in spite of our differences, but because of them. And it's a story that's still being written, by incredible Canadians who step up for their community and country. From the workers and volunteers who cared for our most vulnerable in the long days of the pandemic, to the brave first responders who even now race towards danger to protect homes from wildfires, to the women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces who stand on the front lines fighting for democracy and freedom. People, brave, kind, resilient people. That is the story of Canada. That's what makes our country the very best place on earth. So let's keep making it even better. Happy Canada Day.
So, yeah. Seems like a nice speech overall. He talks about the freedom of speech, except that the convoy, Freedom Convoy, was arrested and, prosecuted for criminal mischief and whatnot. He put on so many censorship laws on YouTube, on Google. Basically, we do have a government funded media service here, news service, and they only get money if they promote his message in a good light. Everything else is censored. He's like, oh, our Canadian Armed Forces. Yeah, well, turns out that in January of this year, we had 3 days worth of ammunition. The war breaks out, we're good for a war for 3 days. That's it. I'm guessing it's even worse now. Maybe we're down to a day and a half worth of ammunition because he neglects everything. He's talking about immigrants. Yeah, he opened the door. I have nothing against immigrants, but where we used to have like 500,000 come into the country a year, we've doubled and tripled that, having, 1.5 million coming in a month or something like that. There's a house shortage. These people, these immigrants have nowhere to live. They're stuck living in tents. Is that what we want for our immigrants? Is this the better life that they left in their country to come here? You can see that this guy is full of crap. You won't know this if you just look at his message. Oh, yeah, Canada is great. But he's been in power for 10 years, and everything he's done is the complete opposite of what he's saying here. But this is the message that our official media is promoting, and they're not talking about the money laundering and all his buddies that got lots of money. It's just a shame to see the situation that we are in. It is a total mess. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because last week we had a by-election, meaning that there was one riding where it was a liberal stronghold for 30 years. An easy win for the liberals, while they actually lost the conservative. So even the die-hard liberals are fed up of this guy and decided, you know what? I want to vote for my party, but this guy is wrecking everything. I can't vote for the party because this guy's the leader and he is wrecking everything. And it's just a shame. So he lost the riding, and the caucus is going haywire. People are speaking out. The Liberal MP writes to caucus say Justin Trudeau should resign. He needs to resign. And he's been silent. He's been hiding from the cameras, hiding from the questions, because he lost a stronghold. You could see here, and within the party, those who are not running, these are not people running against him. They're like, no, I'm not running anymore. But the party, if it is to survive, because it is in survival mode, need a new leader, need a new perspective, needs to get back in touch with the people. Not just their buddies that get to line their pockets with fake contracts. We gave two people in the basement apartment $11 million. What do? They Google. Oh, we need somebody to do this or that for the government. They work from a basement. They Google, okay, you need a plumber. Google plumbers. Okay, thank you for the $11 million. We found you a plumber. We don't have anybody in the government that can do that. We have to subcontract $11 million to a firm that Googles. Obviously, this is an exaggeration, and we're talking about the ArriveCam application, an application that should have cost $500,000, ended up costing over $60 million, of which $11 million were given to these two individuals to Google up, to call the government. Yes, what do I need to put on the guy's CV to get the contract? It is a disaster here in Canada. Not only that, but it's a minority government. And the only reason why the government is staying in power is because they are being supported by the NDP, the third party. I don't talk much about them because they've just got a couple of MPs. I could probably count them on one hand. And our prime minister decided to move the elections a week, delayed it for a week, just so that his buddy that's keeping him in power can be eligible for his pension. There's a reason why we have these elections. You need to be reelected in order to have access to your pension. An extra $200,000 a year just by delaying the elections for a week. And nothing we can do can change that. It should be illegal. You should see our law enforcement seeing the manipulation going on into our elections. And unfortunately, our police are taking orders from the government. So even though our government has been doing some ethical violations, they're not even really being investigated for criminal activity, even though we've had rules for corruption since the beginning of time. And yet our police officers are like, we can't do anything. The government, they don't want to give us access to the documents, so there's nothing to do about it. If I get a ticket speeding down the highway or whatnot, I'm guilty. I have to go to court and prove my innocence. But the government are not even, being arrested, have charge laid, anything, nothing. So back to the topic of this Jagmeet Singh, the leader, supporting the government because the government decided to change the rules a little bit so that he can get his pension. So as long as he supports the government up until the next election, he'll be eligible for his pension. That's the only reason why our government is in power. It is a very sad state of affairs when politicians can change the rules as they see fit for whatever reason. I don't know. I am really upset. I started getting upset over 6 months ago when I discovered that the government spent like, what was it, $8 million on a barn? $8 million on the barn. A barn, maybe 4 times the size of my house, at a gazillion thousand times what my house costs. I'm like, okay, this is great. Then we had the Arrive scam. Then we had the Green Slush Fund. There's so many scandals. Like I was saying earlier, our government supports local run state media, news media outlets, and the chair people, the executives are giving themselves bonuses, the equivalent of, because there's been some layoffs, some downsizing. Strangely enough, the salaries that are being cut is what they're getting as bonuses. And when we review their performances, they've lost over 75% of their viewers. So they're giving themselves bonuses for having lost more than half of their viewership. So when things go down, they give themselves bonuses. I don't know of any enterprise that this would fly. There's so many issues with the current government that it leaves the normal person here extremely frustrated. Taxes are going through the roof. They're going up, it seems like 33% every 3 months. The cost of food, the cost of living, the cost of everything. Tax on pollution. Okay, they want everybody to ride bicycles. I live out here in the country. I live 2 hours away from the nearest McDonald's, if that could give you an idea. But they don't want me to use my vehicle. They want me to use a bicycle to get there. That would probably take me all day. And honestly, I'm paralyzing from the right side. So forget the bicycle. I'll end up falling over, having to call an ambulance. Not saying that I wanted to go to a McDonald's, but should I, as a free citizen, decide to go to McDonald's? The price of gas is out of reach. I can't use my car and can't ride a bicycle. So basically, I'm stuck here, which is a healthier alternative because I could go and do my groceries. Vegetables are up 60% in the past year. Wow. So things are not looking good here in Canada. If things don't change soon, I'll end up myself living in one of those tent cities. That's how bad things are getting here in Canada. Normal people, doctors, plumbers, everybody is getting taxed beyond reason. People are selling their cottages because they can't make ends meet. There used to be a time where, you worked all your life, you saved up for your retirement, and you want to go and live out in the country at your cottage, sell your home, but that becomes a secondary property, and you're going to be taxed 60% on. 60% of the value of your retirement is gone. So many issues that is touching ordinary people. I I'm in a situation here where I am beyond frustrated. I was mad at first just for the barn. Like, how can we spend millions on a barn? Then I started paying attention to what the politicians were doing. Arrive scam, two people working in their basement get $11 million just for using Google search. How, what is going on? I've always expected corruption from the government. I mean, an acceptable value would be 10% off the top, maybe 15 if your government's extremely greedy. But we are going from a $500,000 contract to $60 million. That's $55 million and a half from the top. That is far more than 10%. That's a gazillion percent. I'm sorry. It's the day after Canada Day, and Canada is not in a good situation currently, pretty much like the US, where inflation, all these food chains. All the food chains, Red Lobster, Burger King, Taco Bell, every big chain, fast food chain is going through closures. This is a lot of everyday people, students, trying to pay off their student loans out on the street. No jobs, no homes, nothing is affordable. Why? What is the big plan? Because I always figured I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but why are we all being squeezed like lemons to this point? What is the end goal of this? Is it just that people in power are so oblivious and don't care about nobody, nothing? They're just, we know it's the end of the world, might as well line our pockets and enjoy the Bahamas or whatever for whatever time remains before it all blows up. That's the feeling I have. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. And if there's anything in particular that you would like me to talk about, feel free to mention that as well. Everybody stay safe, be well. Fingers crossed that you get through the day. And I'll see you in the next one.